I can't hide it any longer. I'm so sad within myself. I feel so hopeless. Lord, please wrap your arms around me.
Newberry County investigators found this Cadillac on fire, burned so badly they didn't know where to start.
She's a 30-year-old, beautiful young lady with 4 children. She was one of our TikTokers, so we got to keep her in our prayers.
This is Crystal Anderson, a 20-year-old home health aide and mother of 4 from Wagner, South Carolina, who vanished on August 20th, 2022. What started as an ordinary day ended in screams, with a burned-out Cadillac in the woods holding the darkest secrets of that night. Her boyfriend, Tony Lee Berry, sits behind bars charged with kidnapping and murder. 3 years later, Crystal's body hasn't been found, and what investigators uncovered about Tony's actions after she disappeared will make your blood run cold. But before I reveal the shocking evidence that sealed Tony Berry's fate, let me take you back to where it began, the woman whose life was stolen and the monster hiding in plain sight. Standing 5 feet 1 inch tall, weighing 105 pounds with striking, naturally green eyes, Crystal was known for her dedication to her 4 children. She worked as a home health aide, caring for others while struggling at home. Crystal talked to her family every day without fail, a nurturer, fighter, and survivor.
As moms are so strong, sometimes we be put in situations that makes us hurt only to see them smile. My for mean the world to me.
But behind closed doors, Crystal was trapped in what her mother, Wanda Sumter, described to police as a relationship with a past history of violence. Tony Lee Berry, 48, father of her youngest daughter Serenity, had been controlling and abusing Crystal for years. Her sister, Shadira Smothers, revealed that Crystal had so much ambition but was trapped in abusive-type relationships that kept pulling her down. In early 2022, Crystal made the brave decision to break free. She moved into her own home on Cyburn Road in Wagner, South Carolina, seeking independence to protect herself and her children. It was her fresh start, her escape. But Tony Berry wasn't about to let her go. August 20th, 2022 started like any Saturday. Crystal came home from work in her scrubs. But that evening, a verbal argument erupted outside her home, escalating into something sinister. What happened next would haunt the witnesses forever.
Crystal, she was with her boyfriend, and they was outside. Crystal screamed, and that's what the son said.
A 9-year-old boy watched as Tony Berry physically forced Crystal into the trunk of his 2007 silver Cadillac CTS. Children inside heard screams, desperate, terrified screams piercing the night. Tony drove away with Crystal trapped in that trunk. That was the last time anyone saw Crystal Anderson alive. August 21st, Crystal failed to pick up one of her children, something she would never do. This woman who centered her world around her kids, who checked in with family daily, suddenly went silent. Shadira knew immediately something was catastrophically wrong. On August 23rd, Shadira confronted Tony Berry. Berry claimed he hadn't seen Crystal since 1 o'clock in the morning on August 20th, a timeline making no sense given witness accounts. At Berry's home, Shadira found rope in a bathtub and demonic candles with Crystal's name on them. What sick ritual was Tony Berry planning, or had he already carried it out? On August 24th, Wanda Sumter filed a missing person report with Aiken County Sheriff's Office, explicitly telling them about the violence history, about Tony Berry, about how this was out of character. But here's where this story highlights a bigger problem in how missing Black women are treated.
Some people did not want to give me the media coverage. Crystal's face as a missing Black woman was not even put on any type of TV stations, any type of nothing until weeks and weeks later.
The initial police response met shocking skepticism. Deputies suggested Crystal was out partying, ignoring that she was a responsible mother last seen in work scrubs, with documented abuse history, and witnesses saw her forced into a trunk. The family felt dismissed and betrayed.
Just kind of keeping up with family. It's about the case of Crystal Anderson. Now, she's the Aiken County mom. She was missing for a while. Family was kind of left in the dark with what was going on. Turns out her boy...
A little white girl goes missing. It's like, oh my God, we need to find her. We need to protect her. A black girl goes missing. She's out on the streets. That's what they do.
While police dragged their feet, Tony Berry roamed free, knowing what he'd done. The clock ticked on finding her alive. Then investigators caught a break. On August 28th, Berry's 2007 Cadillac CTS was discovered burned in a wooded area of Newberry County, 56 miles from Crystal's home. The car was torched so badly, investigators didn't know where to start.
Saturday the 20th, so now we're going on a week of her being missing. Unlike her, she's a mother of 4. She's got young kids, family says.
Phone records placed Tony Berry and his 23-year-old son Darius Berry at that location when the car burned. This was calculated, premeditated evidence destruction, and he enlisted his son to help. But Tony Berry made one critical mistake. Even fire can't destroy everything. What forensic investigators found in the charred trunk would lead to his arrest and charges that could put him away for life. For 39 days after Crystal Anderson vanished, Tony Berry walked free. 39 days while her family screamed for help, while her children cried for their mother, while investigators slowly pieced together the truth. On September 28, 2022, acting on an anonymous tip, law enforcement arrested Tony Berry at a hotel in Lexington County, charging him with kidnapping. He was held without bond, unable to flee. But this was just the beginning of uncovering Tony Berry's calculated brutality. As investigators dug deeper into Berry's actions following Crystal's disappearance, they uncovered a trail of evidence so damning that it painted a picture of a man who knew exactly what he was going to do. The purchases Berry made that week. In the hours and days after Crystal was forced into that trunk, Tony Berry went shopping. He bought a gas-powered auger, a tool for drilling deep holes, a shovel, pre-mixed fuel, plastic coveralls, gloves, heavy-duty trash bags, and rolls of plastic sheeting. Every item points to one conclusion. These are the exact tools needed to dig a grave and dispose of a body. But it gets more chilling. Forensic analysis of Tony Berry's digital devices revealed searches: how to commit murder and get away with it, how to commit murder and leave no evidence. This wasn't a crime of passion or rage. Tony Berry was researching how to murder the mother of his child and disappear her body. Think about that cold-blooded nature. While Crystal's children cried, while her family desperately searched, Tony Berry was Googling how to commit the perfect murder. On Mother's Day 2023, Crystal's family received devastating news. DNA had been found in the trunk of the burned Cadillac. Testing was ongoing, but as of November 2025, the family still hasn't been told what those DNA results revealed. They're left in the dark, forced to mourn a woman whose body they can't bury, while crucial evidence sits undisclosed. On December 13, 2022, nearly 4 months after Crystal disappeared, Tony Berry was officially charged with murder. All that evidence, all those purchases, all those searches caught up with him. If convicted, he faces life in prison. But for Crystal's family, no sentence will bring her back.
People get whatever sentencing they get, it still doesn't make the pain go away. To me, there's no complete justice.
Tony Berry wasn't alone in facing charges. His son Darius Berry, 23, was charged as an accessory, specifically for helping burn that Cadillac in Newberry County. Reports show Darius picked his father up from a Love's truck stop miles from where the car burned. How does a son help his father cover up murder? How do you pick someone up from a burning vehicle and not ask questions?
Not pick someone up from a burning car and have no questions, because I'm never going to give someone a ride that just set a vehicle on fire.
Here's where the justice system failed again. On December 19, 2022, Darius Berry was released on bond. A man accused of helping destroy evidence in a murder case where the victim's body still hasn't been found walked free on a $20,000 bond. The family was outraged. Shadir Smothers didn't mince words.
Darius is the key to this case. He needs to be facing a severe punishment, not a slap on the wrist. They need to keep him because he knows. He knows, and they need to stay on him.
The family believes Darius holds crucial information about where Crystal's body is. If he'd stayed behind bars, he might have talked. He might have told them where his father buried Crystal. But he walked free, and that opportunity was lost.
I honestly believe that had they tackled everything and communicated with the other county at the very beginning, there's a possibility that we probably would have already found Crystal.
When Aiken County released him, they ran him through a database to check for warrants. He had none listed, but Newberry County had signed a warrant for his arrest on December 28th, 9 days after Aiken County let him go. The lack of communication between counties, the bureaucratic red tape, all contributed to a key witness walking free.
When they told me that the charges were dropped, she immediately followed and did tell me that Newberry would pick up the charge. They did not tell me that it was going to take so long to happen.
These aren't just procedural mistakes. These are failures that directly impact whether a family gets justice, closure, or can bury their loved one. And for Crystal Anderson's family, every failure cuts deeper. Despite extensive searches with cadaver dogs, despite investigators following every lead, despite relentless family advocacy, Crystal's body remains missing. Vigils have been held every year on August 20th. Balloon releases, candlelight ceremonies, community gatherings.
Investigators say they're still working on every lead they have, and they won't give up until they find Anderson.
It doesn't get easier, it gets harder, because the more and more time that goes on, you lose that faith. And that's the hardest thing, is trying to keep having faith.
As of November 2025, over 3 years after Crystal vanished, Tony Berry remains behind bars without bond, awaiting trial. But no trial date has been publicly announced. The case sits in legal limbo while Crystal's family waits for their day in court, waits for answers, waits for justice. This case represents one of the most challenging prosecutions, a no-body homicide. Without physical remains, prosecutors rely entirely on circumstantial evidence. The witness testimony of that traumatized child, the burned car, the suspicious purchases, the incriminating searches, the cell phone records, it's all there. The puzzle pieces fit together. But without Crystal's body, without that final proof, the case becomes exponentially harder to prosecute. That's what Tony Berry counted on when he planned this murder. But he underestimated one thing: the love of Crystal's family, their determination to never let her be forgotten, and their absolute refusal to give up until they bring her home.
I don't know if we would have been able to save Crystal's life, because I don't know how soon everything happened. But I do believe that we would have gotten closure a lot sooner.
3 years, 1,095 days. That's how long Crystal Anderson's family has lived in a nightmare with no end. The impact on Crystal's children is devastating. When their mother disappeared, the 4 children were separated and sent to live with their respective fathers in different homes. These siblings, who grew up together under her mother's care, were ripped apart and scattered. Shadir has custody of the youngest, 7-year-old Serenity, the daughter Crystal shared with Tony Berry.
The biggest thing is having them separated. Serenity misses them. She wants to see them all the time. She tells me all the time how she misses her sister, because sisters have a bond just like me and Crystal.
Imagine being 7 and losing both parents at once. Your mother is missing, presumed dead. Your father is accused of killing her. How does a child's mind process that trauma?
She misses both her parents, as sad as it is, but she misses my sister as well as Tony.
Leaving his 7-year-old half-sister writing letters to her father in jail, thinking her mother will come back home soon.
This little girl writes letters to her father in jail. She holds on to hope that her mother will come home. How long can a child maintain that hope before reality crushes whatever innocence she has left? The family stays connected through video calls, desperately trying to maintain unity despite the distance. But it's not the same. It's not having your mother tuck you in at night. It's not having your siblings there when you wake from a nightmare. Tony Berry didn't just take Crystal's life, he shattered an entire family and traumatized 4 innocent children.
I remember going into her house last year when this happened, and she had all of these happy back to school notes on the refrigerator and telling the children that she loved them.
But Shadira Smothers refused to let Crystal's story end in silence. She refused to let Crystal become another Black woman forgotten by media, ignored by the public, and deprioritized by law enforcement. So she became a warrior, speaking out, advocating, demanding attention. On October 31st, 2024, Shadira spoke at John Jay College about missing women of color, addressing systemic inequalities plaguing these cases.
It wasn't until I did the story with Haley that people started coming back and reaching out to me and wanting to do the coverage.
Crystal Anderson's family told me last week something is wrong. She wouldn't just disappear without her kids.
This disparity in coverage, resources, and urgency isn't new. Missing white women syndrome is real, and it costs Black women their lives. It costs families like Crystal's the precious early hours when someone might still be found alive. It costs communities the collective outrage that might pressure law enforcement to act faster, search harder, investigate more thoroughly.
I hear stories of people who 19 years they haven't found their family members, 10 years they haven't found their family members. You don't want that to be your story. And that's my biggest fear. I don't want to be sitting here 10 years from now talking to you and we still have not found Crystal. I don't want a story to end like that.
Investigators insist they're working every lead, still following tips, determined to bring Crystal home. But as years drag on, as leads dry up, as public attention wanes, the family's greatest fear is that Crystal will become one of those cases that never get solved, one of those bodies never recovered, one of those families waiting decades for closure that never comes. The statistical reality is grim. In cases where a body isn't found within the first weeks, recovery chances drop dramatically. Searches with cadaver dogs have been conducted, but South Carolina has vast wilderness, countless places to hide a body. Tony Berry had an auger drilling holes up to 6 feet deep. He had time to plan. He had transportation. The search area is impossibly large. But the family hasn't given up hope. They can't, because giving up means accepting that Crystal will never come home. And they're not ready for that. They may never be. Still, every passing year brings a new tip, a new rumor, a new person claiming to have seen something. Most lead nowhere. A few spark brief moments of hope before collapsing under scrutiny. But hope, even false hope, is still a reminder. People haven't forgotten her. The family knows that someday, somewhere, someone might stumble across the one piece of evidence that changes everything. A piece of clothing, a fragment of bone, a location someone overlooked a dozen times before. Until then, they keep her room untouched. They keep her pictures on the wall. They keep telling her story, refusing to let her disappear in silence. And every night, before they turn out the lights, they whisper the same promise into the empty hallway, that as long as they're still breathing, they'll keep searching. Because somewhere out there, in a place no one has checked yet, the truth is waiting. And until that truth is found, the door to Crystal's life will never fully close. Do you think Berry burned her body or buried her deep in the woods? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.